If your muscles twitch, feel shaky, or suddenly seem weaker, it can be scary. A lot of people immediately think nerve damage or something serious. But there's another common driver that's easy to miss: stress and anxiety. When your brain senses threat, it changes your breathing, hormones, and muscle tone within seconds. That can make nerves fire more easily, and it can make muscles fatigue faster. The weird part is that you can feel these symptoms even when you're resting, and the more you monitor them, the more intense they can seem. This doesn't mean it's all in your head. It means your body is running in high alert mode. In the next few minutes, you'll learn the main pathways that link stress to twitching and weakness. You'll also get practical steps that help many people calm the system down. And we'll cover red flags, because reassurance should still be responsible. Moving to slide 2. First, let's define what people usually mean by twitching and weakness. Twitching is often a small, involuntary muscle movement, like a flutter under the skin. It can happen in the eyelid, calves, feet, or hands. Weakness is trickier. There's felt weakness, where you feel wobbly or drained. Then there's clinical weakness, where a muscle truly can't generate normal force. Stress and anxiety are more likely to cause felt weakness, early fatigue, and shakiness. They can also amplify normal twitches that most people would ignore. Another common piece is cramping or a tight feeling, especially in the neck, shoulders, jaw, and forearms. So the goal is not to dismiss symptoms. The goal is to categorize them correctly. That helps you respond with the right tools, and it helps you know when it's time to get checked out. Moving to slide 3. Here's the core mechanism. Stress activates your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight network. Your body releases adrenaline and related stress hormones. That increases alertness, heart rate, and blood flow to big muscles. It also raises baseline muscle tension, like you're bracing for impact. When muscle fibers sit in a more ready state, they can twitch more easily. And when you hold tension for hours, muscles fatigue. Fatigued muscle fibers can misfire and feel weak, even if they're not damaged. Stress also changes how your spinal cord and peripheral nerves handle signals. Think of it like turning up the sensitivity on a microphone. Small signals that would normally be quiet become noticeable. This is why symptoms can spike during deadlines, conflict, health worries, or poor sleep. The system is doing its job. It's just doing it too often, for too long. Moving to slide 4. Breathing is a huge piece, and it's often the hidden trigger. Anxiety commonly shifts you into faster, shallower breathing, sometimes with subtle hyperventilation. Even if you don't feel out of breath, you can blow off too much carbon dioxide. That change can make nerves and muscles more excitable. People may notice tingling, twitching, cramps, or a buzzing sensation. Some also feel lightheaded or get chest tightness, which then increases worry and fuels the cycle. The key idea is that carbon dioxide is not just waste gas. It helps regulate blood pH, and pH affects how nerve channels behave. So when breathing gets dysregulated, the whole electrical system becomes jumpier. The good news is that breathing patterns are trainable. You can't always control stressors, but you can often control the input signal you send to your nervous system. Moving to slide 5. Another pathway is sleep. Stress often steals deep sleep, and deep sleep is when your nervous system resets. When sleep quality drops, your brain becomes more reactive, and your muscles recover more slowly. That can feel like weakness the next day, especially in the legs and shoulders. Sleep loss also increases pain sensitivity, so normal muscle soreness can feel alarming. On top of that, caffeine becomes more tempting when you're tired. And caffeine can increase jitteriness and twitching in some people, especially when combined with anxiety. This creates a pattern: poor sleep, more stimulants, more tension, more symptom checking, and then even worse sleep. Breaking the cycle doesn't require perfect sleep. It requires consistent basics: regular wake time, a wind-down routine, and fewer spikes late in the day. Even small improvements can lower twitch frequency for many people. Moving to slide 6. Let's talk about electrolytes and hydration, because stress changes those too. When you're anxious, you may sweat more, drink less water, or rely on coffee and energy drinks. You may also eat more irregularly. Muscles rely on minerals like magnesium, potassium, calcium, and sodium to contract and relax smoothly. If you're low, you can be more prone to cramps, twitching, and that wired feeling. This doesn't mean everyone needs supplements. It means your baseline habits matter. A simple check is whether you're consistently hydrating and eating balanced meals with real sources of minerals. Another factor is digestion. Stress can speed up or slow down your gut, which can affect absorption and appetite. So if twitching flares during high-stress weeks, it's not only the mind. It's also the body's inputs, fluids, minerals, and fuel. Moving to slide 7. Now the mental side, because attention changes sensation. Anxiety makes you scan your body for danger. When you focus on a muscle, you notice tiny movements you'd normally filter out. Then you interpret them as a threat. That interpretation increases adrenaline, and adrenaline increases twitching. This is a feedback loop, not a character flaw. It's also why symptoms can jump from one area to another. Your attention moves, your tension moves, and the sensation follows. Another common loop is testing your strength repeatedly, gripping, doing calf raises, checking your tongue, flexing your hands. Those tests fatigue muscles and irritate nerves, which can create more twitching. A better approach is structured check-ins. Pick one short window to assess symptoms calmly, then return to normal activity. The goal is to teach your brain that the signal is not urgent. Moving to slide 8. So what actually helps in a practical way? Start with downshifting the nervous system. One reliable method is slow nasal breathing with longer exhales. For example, inhale gently for about 4 seconds, then exhale for 6 to 8 seconds. Do that for 2 to 5 minutes. You're not trying to force calm, you're signaling safety through physiology. Next is progressive muscle relaxation. Tense a muscle group for 5 seconds, then release for 10. That teaches the difference between tension and relaxation, which many stressed bodies forget. Light movement also helps. Walking, easy cycling, gentle mobility. It burns off excess adrenaline and improves circulation without overloading tired muscles. If twitching is in one spot, heat can reduce the sense of tightness for some people. And if you're stuck in symptom checking, set a simple rule. No strength tests outside a planned workout. Moving to slide 9. Let's address exercise because it can go either way. When you're anxious, you might stop moving completely, which can increase stiffness and make your body feel weaker. Or you might overtrain to prove you're okay, which can increase fatigue and twitching. The sweet spot is moderate, repeatable training. Think 2 to 4 strength sessions per week, not maximal effort, plus easy cardio and mobility. Keep sets a little shy of failure. Prioritize good form and breathing. And build in recovery, sleep, protein, and rest days. If you notice twitching spikes after hard workouts, that doesn't automatically mean danger. It can mean your nervous system is already revved up, and training adds more load. Try reducing intensity for 2 weeks and track symptoms. Many people find twitching becomes less frequent when training is steady, not extreme. Moving to slide 10. Nutrition can support steadier nerves and muscles, especially when stress disrupts appetite. Start with regular meals that include protein, fiber, and a source of carbs. Carbs are not just energy. They can reduce stress hormone output for some people and support better sleep. Also, watch alcohol. It can feel relaxing at first, but it fragments sleep and can increase next-day anxiety and shakiness. For minerals, food first is usually the safest baseline. Leafy greens, beans, dairy or fortified alternatives, potatoes, bananas, nuts, and whole grains. If you're considering supplements like magnesium, it's worth checking with a clinician, especially if you have kidney issues or take other medications. And don't forget hydration. A simple rule is pale yellow urine most of the day, with adjustments for heat and exercise. Stable inputs make a calmer electrical system. Moving to slide 11. If anxiety is a major driver, cognitive tools matter too. One helpful approach is to separate sensation from story. The sensation is a twitch in my calf. The story is this means something terrible. When you notice the story, label it as a threat prediction, not a fact. Then redirect to a behavior that signals safety. Slow breathing, a short walk, or a normal task. Another tool is reducing reassurance loops. Constantly searching symptoms, comparing sides, or asking for repeated checks can keep your nervous system on alert. It's understandable, but it often backfires. If you're dealing with panic symptoms, structured therapy approaches like CBT or somatic focus therapy can be very effective for many people. And if stress is chronic, addressing the source, workload, conflict, perfectionism, or health anxiety can reduce the baseline that keeps muscles on edge. Moving to slide 12. Now, the responsible part. When should you get medical help? Stress-related twitching is common, but you still want to watch for red flags. True progressive weakness is one. That means you can't do tasks you could do before, and it keeps worsening. Another is muscle wasting, where a muscle visibly shrinks over time. Also pay attention to trouble swallowing, slurred speech, new facial droop, or severe coordination problems. Numbness that spreads, loss of bladder or bowel control, or sudden one-sided weakness should be evaluated urgently. Persistent twitching with significant cramps, weight loss, fever, or night sweats also deserves a check. Most of the time, people with anxiety-driven symptoms have normal strength on exam and normal reflex patterns, but only a clinician can assess that properly. Getting checked can be part of calming the loop, when it's done thoughtfully, not repeatedly. Moving to slide 13. Let's put it all into a simple plan you can actually follow. Step 1. Stabilize your inputs for 2 weeks. Sleep window, hydration, regular meals, and a reasonable caffeine cutoff. Step 2. Practice one downshift skill daily, even when you feel okay. That could be long exhale breathing or muscle relaxation. Step 3. Move consistently, but keep intensity moderate and repeatable. Step 4. Reduce monitoring. If you catch yourself checking, redirect to a task for 5 minutes. Step 5. If symptoms persist or you're worried, schedule a single focused medical visit with clear notes. When it happens, what worsens it, what improves it. That's a strong adult approach. It respects your body and your mind. If you want one takeaway, it's this. Twitching and weakness can be a nervous system state, not a permanent problem. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 14. Is this topic hit close to home? You're not alone. A lot of people quietly deal with twitching, shakiness, and that uneasy sense that their body is off. The most helpful mindset is curious and systematic, not panicked and reactive. Try the 2-week reset and pay attention to patterns: sleep, caffeine, breathing, and stress load. If you want to keep learning, you can subscribe for more clear, practical explanations about how the nervous system and body symptoms interact. And I'm curious about your experience. Which one shows up more for you? Muscle twitching or muscle weakness? Share A or B in the comments. This information is not a substitute for medical advice.